Hey everyone, back again. As you can see here, we got something a little bit different going on today. We're going to be sewing. Has nothing to do with metal. I know that, but it's something else that I do here as well. This is in my basement of my home. This is a Singer model 111W114 single stitch standard foot sewing machine. Something I bought a little less than a year ago. Something that I've wanted for years and years and years and years and years. I've always wanted to get into doing upholstery work, period. I like custom furniture. I like the idea of being able to restore vehicles and do all the interior in the vehicles and all of that stuff myself. I'm a do-it-yourself type guy. Always, if it's something that I need done, I'm always looking to see if I can learn how to do it if it's something that interests me, and usually it does. So, upholstery work's no different. So, anyway, what we got going on here is we got a soft top for a Jeep that I'm going to be repairing. I'm part of an online forum for a local Jeep club out here called CNYJeep.org. Now, I'm not a Jeep owner, but I'm on that forum, and I'm a active member on that forum because out here in New York, four-wheeling is not. There's not too many places out here that you get to four-wheel legally. So networking with people that have land or the hookup on places where they can go get permission to go four-wheeling legally is very important. So, plus it helps, being a member of that forum also helps drum up business for Alvarez Metalworks. So, one of the members was on the forum looking for help finding a place that can repair his soft top on his Jeep. Because I have my industrial sewing machine, I offered to take a closer look at what needed to be done, and if it was something real simple, I told him I would do it for free. Just to be a nice guy. And it was simple. It's a single stitch, maybe 3 feet long. There was a seam on the top that the thread on the seam failed. The material's fine, but the thread on the seam failed, just due to age. And so I'm going to stitch that up for him and get it back to him for tomorrow. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys in a second. Let's get this project started and get going on this. Hope you enjoy. So, like I said, it's just a single stitch. It's just the threads disintegrated and come apart. Sorry about the poor lighting. I'm down in my basement. So, I'm basically just going to line this up. This stitch goes through the 3 layers of material. You can see here, the first layer, second layer, third layer. So I'm just going to line this up. I'll probably use some pins and pin that all together. And then run that seam. And the plus side to this is that none of this material is ripped, and I have the stitch mark still in the fabric that I could use as a guide. So that's realistically why I said I'd do it for free, because this is going to take me all but maybe 30 minutes when it's all said and done. It's just a quick little stitch, but lining it up and stuff takes a little bit of time. But outside of that, okay. Back, I got all this lined up here in the machine. I didn't want to show you guys that just because it kind of drags out a little bit. I've got the initial stitching, lock stitch, so I've already started. And like I said, I'm just using the guide where I can see the holes are already sewn in here. I'm using that as a guide and just running this stitch real quick. The one thing I do need to be careful with is that I'm not stretching this material any further than it needs to be, because once I get to this other side, it's already stitched in here. I could actually unstitch this, and I might if I end up having a little bit of a bunch or whatever, just to get it all made up right. But I'm going to do my best to keep this lined up exactly the way it's supposed to be. Or exactly the way it was, I should say. So anyway, here we go. A little bit rusty with this. I haven't used this machine in a little while. And if you're wondering if you ever have done anything like this or tried to, there's no easy way to deal with the bulkiness of the material. You just have to lay it all out however it seems to work the best for you, and just keep going, and that's pretty much it. There's no real method, it's just whatever works best for you. And if you're thinking you can do this with a regular clothing sewing machine because your wife or your mom has one, you're going to be in for a lot of problems with that person when you destroy their machine. So if you're looking to do this type of work, make sure you go find yourself an industrial sewing machine. This one actually is not the ideal machine. Ideally, for anything for upholstery, especially if you're dealing with leathers, you're going to want a walking foot. This is a standard foot right here. Let me give you a close-up of that so you can see. We can get this to focus. That's a standard foot. A walking foot has another foot in here. So as this, I don't know how to describe it. Look it up on YouTube, do a search for walking foot, and you'll see the video. This foot doesn't move, okay? The material is drug underneath this foot. A walking foot actually steps up, presses down, and moves the material back. That's the ideal type of machine that you're going to want for upholstery work. This one works, but you just end up having to try a little bit harder. Sometimes your stitch length varies because your feed is not feeding through it evenly throughout this stitch. But if you're trying to do this professionally, you're going to want a walking foot. If you're trying to just get by, one of these will work. The other thing is you're going to want a reverse lever on your machine so that you can lock your stitch. And when you lock your stitch, you start and then step back, start and step back again, and then go. So you're basically just stitching over the top of a certain area just a couple of times, and then you continue on. If you don't do that, the stitch is just going to pull right out. So this machine doesn't have a reverse on it. So what I do is I just manually lift the foot up every stitch and just slide it back, stitch, slide it back, stitch, and I'll show you that here when I wrap this stitch up. So let's continue on with this. And I can tell right now, you see there's a little tolerance cut here. I'm not even sure if that's a tolerance cut. That could be something that the manufacturer did for alignment purposes. Right now mine's a little off. So I'm going to start trying to kind of tuck the fabric in just a little bit to try to get that to line up by the time I get back down here. And you don't want to do it all at once. It's going to be a little by little if you have to do that. Okay, and part of that is because this material is really old. Part of it is that it's a repair versus a proper fix. And just take your time with it. I know you see professional upholsterers whiz through this stuff. I'm not a professional upholsterer, and if you're watching this video, you probably aren't either. So just take your time. It's better to take your time and have the job done right than to whiz through it and have it all looking like shit. Almost there. A little bit more tuck in here. See, the foot on this is trying to fight with me. It doesn't want to let the fabric bunch up, and I need it to do it maybe 1-2 more times. So that's why I'm sticking my scissors in here and kind of folding this so that I can get the foot to allow that folded piece of material in. Make sure you don't jab your needle into your scissors because you'll break it. Yeah, just one more. I'll just sew a little bit more and then I'll do the other one as I get closer. And don't let that needle stab into your fingers or you're going to be having a bad day. And it will. Believe me, it will. I haven't ever done that to myself, but it will. These industrial machines have a lot of force behind that needle. And if it can punch through this heavy plastic and multiple layers of leather, believe me, it's going to go right through your finger. Just about there. So now as I'm getting closer to the end here, I'm going to kind of want to pull on my material because I know where the end's at. Make sure that everything's the same length. You'll see here this has been cut, and I know it's been cut because to keep the seam down from being bulky, most likely. There is also a bar for the soft top to support on that this Velcro attaches to, so that's probably another reason why this has been trimmed out here. So I'm still stitching over it. I think it's just for, cosmetic reasons to keep the fabric from bunching up underneath that bar and looking like crap on the exterior of the vehicle. So I'm just going to keep on stitching. So I've got the zipper here, and this thing is super bulky, so I'm going to move that right now. I don't want anything that's going to cause the fabric to bunch up any more than it's naturally supposed to. So I'm going to move that zipper out of the way before I continue on and then keep going. And every so often I'm going to check and make sure that my stitch is lined up to the holes. Okay, we're just about done. Last little inch. Okay, so now I'm here at the end of this. I'm going to do the last 2 stitches, bring it all the way up, and as it starts to come down, I'm going to raise the foot and bring it back just 1 stitch. Punch it down, move it back again, punch it down, lift the foot, move it back again, and just keep doing that. Because this is going to take a lot of wind abuse because it's for a vehicle. I'm going to probably go back about 1 inch. You know, if this was like clothing or something that's not going to take that much abuse, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch would be fine. But like I said, and this is maybe a little bit overkill, but I'd rather it be overkill than to come apart on this guy again. So I'm bringing it forward now, and I'm going to go back one more time. Again, this might be overkill, but I would rather have this locked in real tight than to not be enough. And you know what? We're out of the thread on my bobbin. But that should be good anyways. So now I'm going to just pull the material out, raise the foot, pull the material out, and actually I wasn't out of thread on my bobbin. Trim the thread, and then take a look at my handiwork. Come over here, trim the thread off this side. You got your lock stitch, my first lock stitch, and it's not perfect. It could have lined up to some of the holes a little bit better on this back side, but it's pretty close. And as I get all the way down, there's a little bit of extra thread from the original thread I'm going to trim off there just to clean it up. And it's done. Looks good. Again, I'm not a professional upholsterer or anything, but definitely strong enough. Definitely works. You should be happy with it. Check it out. And again, subscribe, comment, like. I know Alvarez Metalworks has nothing to do with sewing, but check out my website, alvarezmetalworks.com, and this video will not be on that website, but check it out anyways. Like my Facebook page, the link's on my channel homepage or my website, and thanks for watching, and talk to you guys later.